Hey folks, welcome back to Maypole Farm, and obviously it's been a little while since there's been a video on here because the Highlands Fishing DLC released. Not that we are that fussed about fishing, but I have been busy in the interim. It is late in July 1st, or July 1, and I'm in a big green tractor because I've been busy. So let's jump out and let's start claiming some contracts, shall we? It's actually only 3, but they're quite substantial contracts. So we've got a 9 grand mowing contract, field 46. Thank you very much. Before we claim the other contracts, I did a rock picking contract, and I actually brought the rocks back to the yard so that we will be able to crush these and turn them into lime, or just sell the rocks at some point. That's 5 and a bit grand. And to be honest, it was pretty easy money. I am curious, actually. What's stone worth? Stones. £90 per 1,000 litres, so not much. The other job we did was a pea harvesting contract. This took quite a while. Not everything wanted to play nicely, but we've got 6,500 litres of spare peas. I don't know if we can do anything with them production wise, and we're not, I'm not a big fan of messing with productions anyway, but best price for peas is 2 grand. So these are 12 grand. Now my plan was to use them in feed, but they're worth 12 grand. So what we're going to do is chuck them on the floor and try and sell them for 12 grand later in the year, potentially, if we haven't fed them to the cows. Now, would they still be worth 12 grand if they've been stored on the floor in a shed? And let's not debate that, folks. They're worth 12 grand potentially. So, yeah. Now, we almost have enough, or actually we technically have enough at this point, to buy the field that I want to buy. Excuse me. Control I. This is where you tip on the floor. Okay. Or maybe there's not a floor pile for peas. That's entirely possible. And the price for peas now is 1,900 at the supermarket. Maybe we just go get the 12 grand. Let's just do that. So while we're doing that, I can tell you about the brilliant idea that I can take zero credit for. Mark H, long-time friend of the channel, in fact, pointed out that, let's say, supporter of the channel and friend. That's a better description. That pointed out that we can plant carrots in the oat field rather than a cover crop. Come on, get up the hill, you stupid tractor. Do you want to drop down a gear range? Maybe? There we go. Yeah, we can plant carrots in there because it's the last month that we can plant carrots this year. So we could get a harvest a crop of oats and a crop of carrots off that field, which is pretty nuts, because that'll be decent cash, I would have thought. I'm assuming it's going to be profitable in terms of like leasing the kit to harvest it and stuff. Now, assumption is the mother of all, or makes an arse out of you and me, but we're going to go for it. So if I end up losing money, Mark, it's your fault, but at the very least, we'll get some useful crop to feed the cows. So speaking of feeding the cows, I have updated the realistic livestock mod. Arrow released an update pretty quick that includes the hairy cows, and although we're probably not going to be using the hairy cows on here, because with the modified feeding that I've got, and I did go through and update the modified feeding that we're using and modify it for the hairy cows to match the exaggerated amounts of food that we're giving our cows. And that means that beefs with that exaggerated feeding are not very profitable. So the way Arrow has Highlands set up with realistic livestock, they do give milk, but I didn't increase their milk production. So yeah, we're probably not doing hairy cows on here. We will be doing hairy cows on the Kinlag time-lapse style series. So and we're doing that with enhanced animal system. So if you want to see that, go watch those videos. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with Farm Sim. So there has been again a little bit of a delay probably with the next one of those, because the last video or the next video of that has taken me many hours to record. You'll see why when you see that next video. Oh, that's a pretty solid hedge. That's a pretty solid hedge. I'm glad hedges behave like that in real life. Oh, there we go. So yeah, we're going to be planting carrots today. That's the plan. And that'll be awesome. Maybe, is there water on this map? Maybe we'll try throwing a fishing rod in and see if we catch a fish. I'm pretty sure we will. Or the game will crash. I've heard on some maps it just makes the game crash. So we might save first. But yeah, the fact we can't tip on the ground makes me think that there isn't a ground path for peas. But I'll take 12 grand. And then we can go into contracts and 5 and best part of 6 grand for the contract value, and we're up to £170,000, which is very nice. I think I might have done a cultivating contract as well. I'm not sure. That would suggest I did. Anywho, who remembers what state we left our field in? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller. We left it with the combine in the field. I think because I was... Why can't I... Seriously, we have to unfold this? Where the heck am I going to put this thing? We are rapidly running out of space. Yeah, that might have to just go there. Do what they do on one of the farms near me, and we'll just kind of bury kit in the hedge. So let's go grab the stuff for the... I kept the combine because I was hoping we'd get some harvesting contracts and save a bit of money by already having the combine, but no such luck yet. Whether we just return it, maybe that's a better option. Yeah, maybe we just return the combine. Class, return. So what state's the field in? Doesn't need ploughing. So it will need cultivating. Find out a cultivator. Because I'm pretty sure. Let's just double check. Vegetables. Yeah, we're going to need to cultivate first. So let's do that. I had the weirdest experience today. If you don't watch, actually, if you do, because yeah, it will come out. But if you don't watch the Timberborn videos, was sat recording yesterday's Timberborn video, and a delivery person tried to open our front door. Now you need a key to open our front door, but yeah. Hearing someone try and use the handle to open the front door made me, well, one, made my butthole pucker, because Mrs. D was upstairs asleep. The only other person who should maybe even be attempting that is the teenager who's away at uni and shouldn't just be randomly back home. And then I went to go see what they were up to, and they were trying to stick their hands through the letterbox. Well, I thought they were trying to put the parcel through the letterbox, so I went to try and grab it, and they were trying to put their hands through rather than the parcel. So I was like, hello, excuse me. And they then said they were a delivery person, and they were in fact trying to deliver something, but it was like, what are you doing? Yeah, so that was a very surreal experience. Very surreal. Oh, someone's left the Merlot running. I hate it when people just leave kit running. Absolute pet peeve. No, not at all. Not at all. Virtual diesel is cheap. Oh, no, I'm not going to spoil the next Kinlag video. I didn't have a just out at a moment, and that's probably less relevant for a lot of you who by now might have not quite aged out, but the meme of that is probably not as well known now, and him repeatedly what felt like repeatedly running out of fuel on stream. It may have only happened once actually, but it felt like it was repeatedly running out of fuel on stream. And it very definitely became a meme. And it was very funny. Well, it seemed very funny to the bunch of us that used to watch him stream. So, need to do that, I was about to say, and we're back. And while I was gone, I decided to get the headlands finished, just because we've got a few processes, or processes, it's not process I, is it, to get through in this video. So I figured it wouldn't hurt to try and speed things up. We need to do some serious repairs on some of this kit. We are looking a little bit battered. Oh well. Yeah, I figured it wouldn't hurt to skip a few bits in the video to get things done. Before I lease the planter, we need to make sure that I reset the delivery point, and it's been a while since we did vegetables. We're going to have to use the smaller ridger, but we can then use the bigger planter. So I don't remember. I'm trying to cast my mind back. Without precision farming, ridging gave you a fertilization state. With precision farming, I think all it does is make it look pretty. From what I remember. So, yeah. But we'll do it anyway, because it's the correct thing to do. Now, I think you can do it all in one pass, can't you? So maybe actually we should just get the smaller one, put the small planter on the back, and just do it in a single pass. Assuming we've got the horsepower for that. It's kind of like the question about whether you bother swathing like narrow straw swaths after you use a narrow combine, because then you have to do less with the baler, but by the time you've been around the field twice, it's no quicker. That kind of argument, that if we're going to have to use this guy anyway, we might as well attach this guy to it. So it's 50. Actually, that needs 210 horsepower, which I don't think we have. So, do we even have 160? That's a very good question. I think we have 150. But we might be struggling. What we might have to do is be a bit creative here. Let's just double check that. Vehicles. The Steyr is 190. We might get away with it. If not, I've got a cunning plan. We might get away with it because although the field is on a slope, we're going across the slope. So, particularly if I switch to manual gears and we lock it in an appropriate gear, we might be okay. Yeah, we'll give it a go. I think. I haven't done those root crops since we played on, I've forgotten the name of the map, but Cav's Scottish map, which was about the point the DLC came out, I think. And I drove myself crazy using the harvester that does boxes. We ain't going to be doing that. I think we'll use one of the ones that uses a trailer. I'll probably do something with courseplay, but we'll see what we can do. That is a problem for future me, and sometimes I'm not very good at looking after future me, so, you know. And again, really it's Mark that's making future me's life hard, so if it is difficult, then Mark, it's all your fault, you know. And I hope you feel bad, and I will make you feel bad at Llama. Speaking of Llama, look at that segue to our sponsor. No, there are no sponsors today. If you haven't picked up a ticket yet for the community meetup at Llama, I'll try and remember to put the link down below. I have previously shared it. You do need to buy a ticket. Yes, you have to pay this year. Putting this thing on is never free and costs a member of the community sometimes quite a lot of money. A creator within the community. You can possibly guess who it is from the person who does a lot of organisation for it. And this year there is a small fee. I think it's a very reasonable fee for what you get. But if you do want to attend, there's a link and you will need to purchase a ticket. There are some tickets left, or there were at the point I'm recording this video. So, yeah. And it's a fun evening. So, and during the day before, it's an opportunity. There will be opportunities, I'm sure, to meet the creators that you like to watch their content of. So, right, so we want the 3-point on the back. We will release you. And we release you. Remember this being a bit of a faff to use. Don't know if we've got seeds. So either way, let's just get a bag of seeds as well. Feeling pretty flush with cash. Let's check the sales as well, shall we? So kind of that's the badger, isn't it? Except that's a single row harvester. Ain't no way I'm doing a field with a single row harvester. Oh, Traction King. Anything else? Oh, that's nice. That's very nice. But we have to buy a field. As at least one of you watching hopefully remembers, land is king. When we cross to next month, progress is gonna get quicker. But yes, land is king. Hey, buddy. Right, let's see if we can pull this monstrosity of a combination through the field, shall we? Hopefully we've got enough horsepower. I'm hoping, so this shouldn't be a crop that we roll. If we're ridging it, we shouldn't roll it. Hopefully the rolling deactivation mod covers carrots. I'm not going to roll it anyway, because it feels like we shouldn't be rolling it. I should have checked. How are we doing for lime? Good enough. We'll worry about nitrogen afterwards. Right. Yeah, I feel like 5 headlands might not be a bad idea. Right. Turn that one on. Turn that one on. Lower everything down. And hopefully, yep, looks like we're planting, so. Now, we probably haven't, and we're running on a decent heading, so the multi-terrain angle shouldn't be a problem, he says. I wonder if we should leave the headlands just to make harvesting easier, because harvesting is gonna be a pain. So I'm actually wondering if we just do the up-down rows. What I'm thinking is we turn on automatic deactivation. Go into settings. We come into here. General settings. Gear. Shift mode. Manual. And yeah, I think maybe we just do the up-down rows. Okay, you didn't want to deactivate. That's because it's got a long... Yeah, it's fine. Just because trying to harvest the headlands is going to be a faff with whatever we're using. So I think, and this is bonus crop anyway, isn't it? So I think that's what I'm going to do. Now you might think I'm wrong, and you are welcome to that opinion. But I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm wondering if I snatch a lower gear, can we go... Yeah, we can get 6 miles an hour, so that's good. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Now, with these entrance ones, I think we can go all the way to the end, but then on the other ones, we will leave the headland space free. Or when it deactivates us. And we're going to pull forwards because we've got space there. Yeah. And I think this is... maybe we change the number of headlands in that case. No, because that gives us plenty of space to turn. Now, I'm going to quote my vast real-world farming knowledge here. And this is something that I've seen them do on some of the real farms where I live, and that they will leave the headland. Actually, they will plant the headland with other stuff. With the size of this field, I'm not going to bother doing that. We did that on that same map, on the Cavs Scottish map. I left a big headland and we planted barley or something. Now, obviously, we can't do that here because it's too late in the year. But yeah. And my ultimate goal with this field, we need to be careful, but so we plant carrots now, we harvest them in November. I'm pretty sure that we can get a sneaky planting of grass in November. And that will let us get a equally sneaky cut of grass in the spring for replanting of oats, or or something else, because we don't really need more straw, so we could plant soybeans as a cash crop and just get a bit of variety going, you know. That sounds like a solid plan to me. We'll come forward a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. Awesome sauce. That gives us... No, I'm just thinking that if we're using this whole space to turn the tractor, whatever harvester we use is gonna need a decent amount of space as well. So yeah. Oh, it's fireworks again. It's because it's Saturday after November 5th here, or the 5th of November, which is bonfire night in the UK. So if you can hear fireworks, it's not, well, it could be outside your house, but equally it's outside my house potentially. So yeah. Now the advantage that I have now is dog is old and deaf and doesn't react the way he used to. So yeah, it's much less stressful these days when those things are going off than it used to be. No more having to go to the vets for sedation and spending the night very, very stressed. Yeah, so there were some good deals in the sales, weren't there? Now, we don't need to buy a combine yet, even though it's very cheap. We don't need to buy a forage harvester. It's not worth it. Not going to get that single row vegetable harvester. That John Deere, though, that's not high enough horsepower. John Deere is very tempting. think for now we want to increase the amount of land that we're farming, not the amount of kit that we've got. Having just complained about how cluttered the yard is, so and we actually have the cash to pick up field 15. Sugar beets aren't harvestable until October, so we've got a bit of time. So I think we'll hang on a bit. We obviously want to buy it a few months before so that we can at least fertilise the field and get as much as we can off of it. I'd like to get a decent yield off of there, because we're going to have the expense of hiring sugar beet harvesting kit. There's probably, I haven't really got space, have we? We probably want to keep some of it for feeding the cows and probably sell some of it, I think. And I was going to say there may be a benefit in putting it through a BGA, but we don't really have the land to put in a BGA, so I think maybe we just sell it. And in that case, have a look in a minute at the pricing. I mean, a bit of me, with all of the grass products we're producing, maybe it would behoove us, posh word, I'm clever, and actually if we're harvesting in October or November, we just sell it straight off the field, can't we? So that's fine. At a decent price, yeah. Heck, we could buy it and sell it, which would be very cheaty. Yeah. But with all the grass we're producing, so we'll go back to the menu in a minute. I'm just wondering if we do a big crop of soybeans then, because that was such... No, we shouldn't do soybeans. Soybeans are not that profitable. Poplar takes forever to grow, but obviously it's mega profitable. I actually do have it on my phone. Not on my phone. I do have it on... Can I get it on this computer? I could, but you'd lose sound. So, give me a minute. So I'm back. I quickly loaded up the spreadsheet. You know, carrots are one of the higher profitable ones. So that's good. Thank you for the recommendation, Mark. And soybeans, if we swath them, are pretty profitable. So I am kind of tempted to go sugar beet, which are also a pretty profitable crop, into grass cover crop, into double soybeans, because that'll make it more worthwhile for hiring the swather. And then we just have to wait for the selling point. But at that point, we'll make a ton of cash. Now, whether we would make more cash going oats, carrots, especially swathed oats, sell straw, carrots, that's an interesting question. It depends how much of a pain harvesting these guys is. I meant one of the other things I wanted to have a look at actually was vegetable harvesters. So we've got that one is 0.8, that's 0.8, that's 0.8. So, and that one, so that one, that puts some, so I think that one must unload into a trailer. That one, I think, unloads into... Yeah, that one's designed to unload into a trailer. And no, that one has a small capacity. That might be the way to go. Because the big one doesn't have any capacity, or we get a modded one. Right. There are modded ones about. I know Mr. Thor now has a modded onion harvester for me. So we've got that one, which is 0.8 meters working width. So does that one, is that the boxing one? That goes on the 3 point. Maybe that's the one that boxes them. Because that looks like it has a conveyor which would unload into a trailer. That unloads into a trailer, and then that's the stupidly big one, but doesn't have any capacity, but does have a 3 meter working width. And maybe if we were doing 2 fields full, at least one of those. Or we just get a modded one, because life's too short. We would probably want to get, I say that, planting these isn't taking that long. I was going to say maybe we want to get to a bigger tractor if we're going to be planting lots, but it's not taking that long to get this done. The other thing I wanted to check is, are we getting the, no, we're not getting the needs rolling state. Awesome. So, yeah, I need to have a look on ModHub and see what modded carrot harvesters there are. And remind myself how the ones in game work. It's been so long since I used them. That I don't remember. I wonder if they fixed precision farming. And no, we're not getting a nitrogen bonus from the ridging. So that would have been nice, wouldn't it? To equate to the bonus that you get, the fertilization state that you get without precision farming. So we're about halfway across the field. Really good. Yeah, so we do need to continue knocking out the contracts. There are some big ones, but they're for things that suck, like spinach. Predominantly spinach. The mowing ones are quite nice because they're nice and quick. There are some fertilizing ones, which I've been less tempted by in this version of the game. I don't know why, because I used to love a fertilizing contract. I've mostly been liking contracts that don't consume things this time. So, it is what it is, isn't it? Yeah. There we go. But yeah, we could do with a bigger tractor if we're going to go heavy into carrots on here. And I need to grab a thumbnail picture before I forget. And I need to turn off, I need or I need to. There we go. That mod is so helpful. It's the one that automatically gets rid of the lines for me. There we go. That'll do us. Yeah. But I'm sure we can use the carrots in the feeding a bit, and they do pay well. And I'm pretty sure oats into carrots is going to pay better than just doing sugar beet. And I think technically we could do oats into carrots into grass. That's what I want to try. What I'm going to try on this field. So, I think in March, when we want to plant the oats, we'll be able to get a very first like half cut of grass. And that's worth something, you know. It's better than a kick in the spuds, as they say. Better than a kick in the spuds. And next month we'll be getting milk off the cows, so that means more money will be coming in. Well, off some of them. Not all of them are going to have had calves then. I need to decide what I'm going to do with the calves, whether we just sell them, because the cash would be nice. I mean, the cool thing is that as we start to get to that point, I might not need to do contracts. And we can focus on just running the farm. Now, we don't have a lot of cows. It's not like Greenlands, where we were doing like £1 million worth of milk every few days. But it should be good. It should be good. It should keep us afloat at least, you know. And if we can triple crop the fields, or 2.5 crop the fields, that's going to be even better. So, because that's going to be really boosting the income of the farm, especially if we're working 3 fields. And that's a good quality. That's 106% yield field. So, oh, guess what? It's hailing again. Oh well. La vie, folks, eh? La vie. 2 more runs to go and we will be done, and that's going to be the video for today. I'll do the fertilizing next time. I've not decided how we're going to do the fertilizing, but yeah. And, you know, saying I've not got space for a BGA, there are other BGA mods out there. I've actually got some installed on Killag, because I need to have a look at the XML to see how they look and they perform. But I don't have to just use my BGAs. I am BGA agnostic. It's more that on here we just don't have the yard space with the kit we're starting to accumulate. Unless we allocate part of the field that we're about to buy to it. Because I think probably the one that's built into the map is going to cost too much. So, but we'll see. We'll see. And we've almost finished our first year, which is, for most people, nothing significant. But for me, is. I think on Zalonka, we did have many episodes, and I don't think I finished a year on there. Maybe I did finish a year, but anyway, that feels good. And once I've planted these, I might put some manure on. Not sure. Not sure what the... Maybe not, because they don't actually need that much nitrogen. You might do a little bit. But I might then skip some time ahead. For you guys anyway. Into August. Well, skip a day, I guess. So that we are at the point that we have calves and are producing more money. I'm not sure where the grass will be at that point, because we might need to be doing a full cut of the grass field. That's what I was thinking. Which probably means I need to get a baler with a wrapper, because we've got a lot of hay stored up, although we could probably do with more, to be honest, through the winter, because we'll be using a lot of feed through the winter. And I'm not sure when we're going to be silaging the maize, so as early as we can, essentially, which is growth state 5, and I'm not sure what growth state we're in. Might have a look at that before we finish today. Do is hurrying up, because I also probably way too much information, but I could do with visiting the bathroom, and just not to have a bath. Had rather a lot to drink over the last couple of hours whilst recording a couple of videos, so yeah. Oh well, that was probably way too much information. I'm sorry, I apologise, but I have to find something to talk about as we go through, so yeah. I'm curious what you guys think of the Highlands fishing DLC thing. I think I've asked this question a few times, but you've probably had a chance to play with it by now a bit. I'm a little bit curious about doing a £1 million fish farm. Now, I'm not overly fussed about the fish farming personally. But a bit like the £1 million poplar farm and the £1 million silage farm, I did wonder if a £1 million fish farm would be profitable. And so I've been pondering doing that. I don't know if £1 million worth of fish productions would be interesting to people. I don't know if I think a couple of people have done videos on those fish productions, whether someone's essentially done that already or not. But yeah, let me know. I did the video on onions, obviously, but I'm kind of curious for. I need to poll the not poll, but ask patrons as well. But I'm kind of curious for ideas on videos again for that kind of stuff, because it was fun spending the time working that out, but I'm a little bit out of ideas at the moment. I would quite like to have a look at enhanced animal system, I guess, but I'm not sure how much has changed since 22, and therefore, you know, I was thinking this morning about doing a revisit on how the breeding works with enhanced animal system, but I'm pretty sure it's all the same as FS22. But then I've been reminded that people forget the stuff that was in videos that I did for FS22, and even though I remember most of the time what I've done a video on, not everyone remembers and might not go back and refer to them. So that is, yeah. So if you've got thoughts on like videos like that again, and I said I'd stopped doing videos like that because they can be a bit of a hassle, but the onions one was reasonably well received and was kind of fun to make, so yeah. I'm pondering doing that kind of thing again, but I'm kind of... There's not been a lot of things out that have really caught my attention. We've got realistic livestock, enhanced animal system. But I've not played with either of them heavily extensively. You've seen all of my realistic livestock gameplay because it's in this. Arrows, crop-based one, I'm not doing a video on before anyone asks, because a lot of that, the last time I looked, the features were heavily undocumented, and that made it very difficult to get to grips with. Now I installed that on a save, started playing, harvesting a field and getting very low yield, couldn't understand how some of the systems worked and just ripped it out because it wasn't documented, and that was kind of frustrating because if you don't speak Lua, which if you're not aware is the language that scripting mods are written in, picking it apart is really hard. XML is much easier to understand and decrypt, and if a mod is heavily dependent on XML to configure it, that's easier. But if you don't understand Lua, it's so hard to pick stuff apart, and I don't speak Lua, so you know. Because I know I've been asked at least once to do a video on that, and nope. Nobody nope. But and I think I've browsed a little while ago, like the gameplay mods section, which is where the script mods end up, and yeah, I do need to do an update to guaranteed crop prices to include onions, and probably just refresh it because Giants, I think, have updated the file it's based on, and that probably means it needs an update because to pull through the changes that they've made. So, but that means sitting head deep in an XML file for a day, and yeah, I'll get to it. But we are pretty much done, folks. So I'm going to say thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. Really appreciate you guys supporting the channel. And if you've enjoyed the video, click the like button. Comments, questions, and stuff, stick them below. And I'll see you all next time. Bye for now. I guess we should go back to the yard, return all this kit. But that was a successfully planted carrot field. I don't feel like we're losing out a lot on yield by leaving the headlands, and it'll make life much easier in terms of harvesting. So yeah, that's it, folks. See you next time.